Okay, hello. You got to excuse the shitty audio. I'll try to talk loud and the low quality light and everything else that's not professional about this. I'm here to talk about Apophenia 85, 86, 87, 86, the title of this painting and the crazy shit inside of it that I didn't intend to do, but it's there and it blew my mind the first time I noticed it. It blew my mind a fucking million times after. So here it is. Basically, this painting is Jordan and Russell, uh, 98 finals, game six, about 5 seconds left when Jordan sort of shoves Russell and hits the game winner. His last ever shot with the Bulls, um, sealed the sixth title in 8 years. So here's the deal. I noticed this about 3 weeks after I painted it, so it was a revelation. It was like pretty much something that I noticed one night by chance when I decided to randomly count the rungs on the roller coaster. So it starts with the drop at the bottom here, drops in, and then you ride all the way around. So it drops in, goes around there, goes up, swishes through this basket, curls around there, comes here, goes all the way around again, and comes back. That's one completed cycle, and then it sort of shoots through the legs here and goes back around and rides it endlessly after that. So after the first drop, it never uses the drop again. It just infinity loops around. So I started to count it one night, and I saw that the drop here is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rungs on that part of the coaster, and I kept going. The next one from here to here was 13, and the next one from here to here was 6. So I started thinking about these numbers, 8, 13, and 6, and why it seems so familiar to me, having been, always interested in Jordan's stats and having read lots while I was working on this project, just reading stuff. And the first thing was the 6 and the 8. It was like they won 6 times in 8 years. That's, some pretty common Bulls dynasty numbers. But the 13 was weird because I looked at when he started with the Bulls and when he finished, regardless of the baseball stint. He got 84, 85 to 97, 98. So covering 13 years. Essentially, the intro goes 8 years, 13, and 6. He has 6 titles in 8 years and the whole 13 years of his time in Chicago. So I was like, so far this is kind of cool. I thought it was pretty interesting. Then I added them up, like I was just counted them, and rather than doing sections, where was I so far? So if you go 8 and 13 to there, the reason I stopped there is because I only go at where things intersect or get cut off. So here is 8 and 13 is 21, and then that other 6, 21 plus 6 is 27. So I looked at it, what was that? At 21, that was when he started with the Bulls, 1984. Born in 1963, 84 make him 21. Took the Bulls 6 years to win their first title. So that would in 91. So basically at this point we've got all of the huge keystones in the Jordan statistical numbers book of time, and we've got 8, 13, 6, and then I counted again. I kept going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is basically coincides with his retirement at 35, which is right after this shot, 98. So far we've got rookie season, first title, retirement, number of championships in number of years, and total career span. And then after that, the next section is 5, from 35 to 40. If you look at it, retired in 2003 at the age of 40. Kind of like, a lot of this is kind of cherry picking cool ages. I'm not even, in this whole entire time, I never picked games where he scored 40 or 63 because that would be too easy. There's too many of those. But if you're just looking at ages and seasons, it goes from first title, first retirement, last retirement. Actually, this one here is actually second retirement because the fucking first one was baseball. And if you count that number, this is just like super deep statistics. But 35, he wore 35. I think in Springfield playing baseball for that season. So anyway, go to 40. there's two more little ones here. I consider that in my written poem of Apophenia, 2 years in Washington, that thankfully ended shortly. Just kind of, it's part of the rhyme. You'll have to see that later. So then it goes from 42, 21 around, all the way to 63. Now 63, I was thinking about, well, what is 63? And the first thing I thought of was a game where we dropped 63 in Boston. But I was like, okay, that's interesting, but we can't be picking points from games. What about the year 63? And it dawned on me that Jordan was born in 1963, and I looked at the specific day was February 17th, 1963, and that comes in, starts to come in a little later. This whole numbers brainstorm that happened to me, whatever night it was, a couple years ago, was probably over maybe 45 minutes. I don't know what the fuck I was going on. I was probably 3 in the morning. I was just having a fun solo brain session on this, brainstorming on this piece. It was what I do, I guess, when I'm bored. So I got to 63, and I remember that as the year. But also, to continue counting the stretches, this 2 plus 21 stretch here is 23 long. So from right here to right here is 23 total rungs. And then the next one down from here is, from here to here is 19, and then 2 little ones in here make another 21. So essentially it goes 2, 21, 19, and 2 for a total of 42. But that's not really, it's getting too much ahead of ourselves. So, but one thing I want to say, I'll kind of skip ahead, is the number 19 became a huge repetitive feature of the painting. And again, I was starting to wonder, why, is there a significance to the number 19? Can I go cherry picking and try to find something? Well, I found a pretty fucking big cherry. 19 happens 4 times in this whole entire thing. We see it right at the start with this 13 and 6 that we saw already makes up 19. So this stretch to here is 19 long. I only looked at combos of 2. I never went this 4 long. But so just 2 sections of 1 or 2 long. Here's 13 once. This one after 63 goes 19 down to here to 82, which is the first year he went to North Carolina. So that's 2 19s. And then afterwards, we're going to see 2 more. This one's 11 and 8. So this little U right here is 11 and 8. And then afterwards, from here to here is another 19, is 12 and 7. So we see 19 4 times. And well, what's so interesting about 19? Well, if you remember what I said about the birthday, February 17th, 1963, I looked at February 17th. I thought, hey, second month, 17th day, 2 and 17 is 19. And then I thought, okay, that's interesting. And then I looked at 1963. I saw the 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 was also 19. And I think it was right after that, or at the same time, that I started to notice that there were 4 19s on here. At that point, I already sort of picked up that there were 2. Then there were fucking 2 more, and it was why are there so many 19s around here? And it has his birthday matched up with that exactly. It was pretty nuts. And then the 82 there is, and then this 83 and 84, the 83rd and 84, those 82, 83, 84 is all college stuff. And it's interesting that the 82 was the year he hit the shot, and I put this basket here. Now, if you'll notice, there are 2 baskets, and the first time he hit the shot was in North Carolina in 82 to win the title against Georgetown. That's why it's a coincidence that at that year it touches the basket. Now the other one that I never intended that, but when I first painted one of the baskets on, the first one was this one. So that essentially I wanted it to have, for him to have a basket to shoot at after he shoves Russell off, to hit the winning shot. And that's what that was. So it came to my sort of attention that the painting has the shot to start his career in university in North Carolina and the shot that finished his Bulls career in '98. So it's got both of those there. And then when you get around, it goes this 19, like I said before, 19, it's 122 so far. And then it goes up 17, 12, and then 18, and an additional 4. So I was counting all of those, and I got to, I think it was when I got to here, I realized that it was like this first sort of section, like if you consider this like as a first like stoppage of like the first half of the whole entire track, it gets to 84, and then to get to here is 85 for a total of 169. But I just like that year, those numbers, one section's 84 and the other one's 85. So 84, 85 is his first season with Chicago. But that was like interesting. But when I like fucking really got my mind blown on this entire thing, like in all honesty, this is the one that fucking of everything else, all the little details you want to, however you want to call them, just cherry picking numbers or cool coincidences. This one blew my mind. When you get to when you complete the entire thing and you count the last rung, I said there were 173 rungs. I sat there for a second and thought, why does that number seem kind of interesting to me? And then I thought, well, this moment in time, because I don't think I had named this painting. I definitely hadn't named this painting Apophenia 85, 86, 87, 86, obviously at this point, because there was no Apophenia up to this point. That only came after this night when I started thinking and writing about all of this. So I thought, what is 173? That seems familiar. And then I thought, when he hits this shot, it goes 87, 86. The Bulls win 87, 86. That's 173 total points scored in that game. And this fucking roller coaster has 173 rungs. What? Like what? Shit, that's fucking crazy. And then I thought more about the numbers, and even though it's numbers irrespective of this painting, it still factors in, because 86, 87, that was his greatest scoring year in his whole career. So he had 3,000 plus points, never averaged more than that. And that's the final scores, the final Bulls game ever is 86, 87, 87. Come on, that's fucking nuts. And guess what? 86, 87, that year, at the start, he was 23 years old. And that shit, I mean, and here, okay, like, that was it. I decided I needed to write about this, and then I came to the notion, like, on one point I wanted an animated GIF to have a ball rolling around, then I wanted to make an animated video, and that's fucking actually happening. That's why I wanted to make this video to explain it. And then I still think about it 2 years later. I still think about this. And one thing I noticed, again, just the other night, I start to think about how, like, what is the longest stretch of the roller coaster? And the longest one is 21. So that goes from there to there. We talked about it before. From 42 to 63. There's 21 rungs there. It's the biggest one. So if you go downwards from that, I wanted to see how many pieces of the roller coaster had one rung, how many had two, how many had three, how many 4, 5, 6, etc., all the way up to 21. And I found that, I already said, oh, right, and this time I wasn't combining any, so there would only be stretches of one length of unit. You can't add them up with this number. I was just putting restrictions on to see if there was anything cool about it. And I did it, and there's not a single section of 1. There are 4 sections of 2. There's not a single section of 3. There's a section of 4 here. There's a section of 5 there, etc. So I did it all. What I noticed is there's no 1, there's no 3, there's no 9, no 14, 15, 16, and no 20. I looked at those and I thought, what's interesting about those, if anything? And it kind of dawned on me that I added them up. When you go from, when you look at the middle section, well, you look at the 9 and the next one, it goes 9, 14, 15, 16, 20. 9 and 14 is 23, which is his number. 14, 15, 16 is 45, which is also his number. When you look at the 9 and the 3, it's 12. And for people that know Jordan really in depth or know the stories, he actually wore the number 12 for one game in Orlando when someone jacked his jersey before the game. So he wore 12, 1 and 3. And he wore he wore 9 in for Team USA. Wore 12, 9 and 3. Wore 23, 9 and 14, and wore 45, 14, 15, and 16. Those are all numbers that weren't involved in this roller coaster, and they all happen to match up somehow to his jersey number. Okay, I'll take a break for now and see if any of this came across on the microphone that sucks. And ciao, bye.